Good day, everybody. This is Jailbird Earl talking about the results of the Summerslam and what I thought and how good I was prediction. As you know, the five of you who watch my predictions, you'll know that I am the man. I am the man. I am the man. Because let me tell you something, I only missed one match and a half of other match, and I'll tell you why it's only a half. Because nobody predicts disqualifications. At least as far as I know. Well, let's get ready and talk. Before we get into SummerSlam, let's just say you should listen to me because I'm the man who flips tables. Alright. As we go on, I'm not going to cover the pre-show. But I will talk one match about the pre-show. And before I actually get into the matches, I'd like to say the worst match of the weekend, as I watched both TakeOver and the SummerSlam, was the worst match. Probably Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim. That match was not very good. They didn't look like they had any chemistry in the ring. It looked very slow and like very predictable. For example, they'll throw somebody, one of them would throw the other one in the corner, and then the other one would move, and then the other person would run into a corner and miss. It was all weird, and the timing was off between those two. And then the other one that's probably just as bad was the one between Nikki Cross and Alexis Bliss versus the Iconics. That one was a mess. And it wasn't just the Iconics. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Alexis Bliss, but she doesn't look very good in the ring anymore. And that stupid slap she does before she knocks him down to do her Alexis Bliss, man, that thing has to go. That looks so unreal. And the girls, when she slaps them or supposedly hits them, they don't know how to sell it because you got a 4'0" girl hitting a taller girl who weighs probably 20 or 30 more pounds than her, and she's supposed to get knocked out by that. It's terrible match. The best matches of the night, I would have to say, talk about later on, was probably Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. That was a great match. And also on the NXT side, the Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole match was great. If you have the network, I would tune into the NXT TakeOver. You'll love it. All the matches were the best, except for that Shayna Baszler match. And the Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, the last third of that match was awesome. I had a cage with all these weapons around it. It was great. But let's go into SummerSlam. And the first match of the night was kind of surprising to me, but I know why they did it. Got to get the crowd hype. Was between Becky Lynch and Natalya. Now these two ladies showed people how to wrestle. They were very good. It looked very real, very concise as they kept on trying to do each other's submission holds on each other. But in the end, it was Becky Lynch putting on the armbar on Natalya for the win, as I predicted, of course, because I am the best. I'm the best. I know what's going to happen. If you was a gambling person, and the three of you, I know there's 5 views, but I know there's only 3 of you who watched it. If you guys betted, he put money down, he took my advice, I would have made you a rich man or woman. I'm telling you. I am telling you, when it comes to predictions, I am the king. I know. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to admit it. But I was expecting maybe a little interference there from maybe a Ronda Rousey. But all the surprises I talked about didn't come true. No Ronda Rousey, no Shayna Baszler, none of that stuff happened this past weekend, which is all right. If you watched it all, you got to see Edge, and that was a great surprise. All right, so we're going to move on. Going the wrong way here. I got my little phone here so I don't miss any matches talking. The Dolph Ziggler versus Bill Goldberg. This match went exactly as I thought it would go. Bill Goldberg goes in there. It lasts about 2 minutes. He gives him a spear, the jackhammer, and it's over. The aftermath was kind of funny. I saw Ziggler kept on trying to brag on Bill Goldberg, telling him that the spear was weak and stuff. So Bill Goldberg ended up getting at least 3 more spears. And of course, Dolph Ziggler sold it perfectly. Looked like he might have busted his ribs. He couldn't breathe. You know, he's holding over and saying, "Oh, I can't breathe" and stuff. But it was exactly what I was expecting. Which is the reason why I didn't give it the worst match of the weekend, because I mean it was exactly what one would expect those two guys to do. Um, and the match probably only lasted like 30 seconds. Maybe 2 minutes. The actual match. Moving on to Ricochet versus AJ Styles. Now this was a great match. AJ Styles and Ricochet, and all the things they were able to do in the ring. We have AJ Styles retaining the belt, which again I predicted would happen. I also predicted the Goldberg winning it would happen too, by the way. So this was great. These guys put on a clinic. It's incredible with the stuff that Ricochet's able to do. He actually stepped on two guys' shoulders, jumped up, put his legs around AJ Styles' head, and flipped the guy over. It was great. That was at the beginning of the match, and it went on. It told a perfect story of AJ Styles working on Ricochet's leg. Ricochet sold it perfectly. I say every time he tried to jump up, do one of his crazy moves, he would do it on one leg. In the end, AJ Styles won, and then of course his cronies took advantage of the victory, beat up on Ricochet a little more, which tells me this rivalry's not over yet. Maybe we're heading to a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and some kind of extreme match going on between those two. All right, moving on from those guys. Definitely a match to check out. Next one was the SmackDown's Women's Title match between Ember Moon and Bayley. It was a very good match. Ember Moon is very athletic. And these two, I was impressed. It was very good. It wasn't no slowing down. It was up pace. They also told a pretty good story in the ring. But Bayley, in the end, held on for the belt. So it's going to be interesting to see where Bayley goes from here, if they're going to continue the rivalry or not. So that should be interesting. I would rather, personally, I wouldn't mind him seeing wrestle again, but I think it'd be good for Bayley to do another rivalry. I mean, they're on a SmackDown, so you still got Charlotte on there, Asuka. I think Naomi's on SmackDown. That'd be a pretty good match. Moving on to the Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon. Of course, I gotta say I did pick the Bayley winning that match. And then going on to Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. Kevin Owens won, of course. I picked that. Things didn't happen that I thought would happen was, Shane McMahon going coast to coast, which he usually does. And he usually jumps from the ring post to the announce table. So that didn't happen. It was a pretty good match. You kept on getting interference from Elias. The whole thing. How is he going to defeat Shane McMahon when Elias keeps on interfering because Elias was the referee and such? But in the end, it was a great finish. Crowd was into it. He gave Shane McMahon the stunner, pinning. It looks like that one might be going on. That rivalry might be going on. We'll see. I'll have to find out. Hopefully not. Hopefully we don't see Shane McMahon again for a while, but I got a feeling that it's going to continue to another pay-per-view. Then we're going to go to Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus, with Charlotte Flair winning. I predicted that she would win, and I think that would be a good win because, Charlotte Flair, she's a regular. Trish Stratus is coming now from retirement. I mean, if you want that to be more even, I would have had Trish Stratus, show up more from the last 2 or 3 months instead of the last 2 weeks. Built up pretty good. I was surprised that the match lasted as long as it did, but Trish Stratus was able to keep up with Charlotte Flair, and it was probably the second best women's match of the night. It was very good. I mean, Trish Stratus really held her own in there, and of course Charlotte Flair. Trish Stratus didn't put Charlotte Flair in the figure 8, and that looked pretty good. So, and then the crowd gave her a big ovation afterwards. Started chanting her name. It was very good appreciation, and it looks like she still could hang in there if she wanted to. Then we get to the WWE title match between Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston. This one I didn't get right because it was a disqualification, and I mean, I was picking winners or losers. I was trying to pick disqualifications. And the crowd kind of turned on him at the end because once they both got counted out of the ring, the crowd started chanting BS, BS, but they weren't saying BS. They were saying the real words. They weren't happy about it. And I can understand if it's if you're paying $100 to $500, you probably want finishes. I didn't mind a disqualification because it brings it on a little farther. You got another rivalry probably coming up. Another rivalry, but they're going to extend the rivalry, what I'm trying to say, until the next pay-per-view probably, which will be good. They look very good in the ring together. Hopefully it builds up more tension. I didn't realize until I started reading other people's comments about the match that it's the same angle they did last SummerSlam between Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. I knew it was similar, but I didn't know it was like the exact same per-view. I don't know if they said, "Oh, let's see what we did last year, and let's do the same angle." And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Randy Orton started taunting Kofi Kingston's family and his children, and that's why they both got counted out. But we'll just have to see what happens. And then I believe that brings one more match. See, this is where I got my notes here. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor. Man, that was a great interest. I was always wondering how they're gonna bring the Fiend to on screen, and they did great. The interest was great. The in-ring act was great. Actually, Finn Balor did a little bit more offense than I was expecting. It would have been awesome if he would came out as the Demon Balor, but maybe we'll get that for WrestleMania. Who knows? But that was a great match. Very great, and then the ending was great. Everybody was impressed. Oh, sorry. Everybody was impressed. Everybody was chanting, chanting, "This is awesome." I agree, it was awesome. And I think for that character to really have a long tenure into endurance is that it has to be only wrestled during pay-per-views. Because if you see something like that every week, it's going to get tired. It's going to get old. It's the whole the nuisance of it. It's not going to be as great. He's like, "Oh, I've seen this before." But if you do it, have him have an actual regular wrestling match once every 2 months, not every pay-per-view, but every other pay-per-view or something, it's going to be great for that character. You still can have him on screen doing his Playhouse thing every week segments, or coming into the ring and beating people up and such. That's how I would use that character. We'll see how WWE does it. And so then we get to the final match, which I got wrong. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. I thought Brock Lesnar was going to win. I thought he was going to hold the belt until WrestleMania because, hey, that's usually what they do. But, man, I was really surprised by how good this match is. I don't really like Brock Lesnar in his matches, but this was really great. Great match. It was, I don't know how to say it. It was great the way they worked it. Everything they did worked. Seeing Seth Rollins jump from the ring post onto the announce table where Brock Lesnar was laying over was great. When he did the frog splash, I didn't think he could cover that distance doing a frog splash, but it was great. So that was SummerSlam. It was great. If you haven't watched it and you go to NXT Network, I suggest you watch it. You'll love it. You can probably skip. You can't see I don't think you can see the pre-show on the network, anyways. But it was a fantastic night. I enjoyed it. A fantastic weekend. I enjoyed all of it. And if you do want to watch the NXT Takeover, you probably can fast forward that Shayna Baszler match, and because you ain't gonna miss that. She won it anyways, and same old really what happened there. But the other 4 matches was great on Takeover. I wasn't disappointed really with SummerSlam. I think I enjoyed all of the matches, and so. To end this off, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed SummerSlam and if you watched Takeover. Do you agree with me? That was the Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, the best match of the night, and was and was the Shayna Baszler Mia Yim the worst match of the weekend, and was the Alexis Bliss, Nikki Cross vs Iconics the worst match of SummerSlam? That was just a pre-show, so I didn't really care much of the pre-show. But the regular show was great. All the matches were great. If you had to do a worst match of the regular show, probably would have been Goldberg. But, what do you expect? He delivered everything that you would expect from a Goldberg match. And the crowd loved it. and I loved it. So I guess that's it. So I'll see you until next time. If you don't mind, please hit the like button. If you like what I said, subscribe and share the video so others can see my awesomeness.